Well, hello there. I'm coming in on Sunday evening, much later than I would have liked, and a little differently than usual, rolling with the twists, turns, and curveballs of life. We've had a pressing issue here today with one of our appliances, a biggie, our refrigerator, unfortunately has been having a slow descent that has now picked up the pace here in the holiday season. On Christmas, it started acting up, and a bunch of things took place that have now culminated into it no longer working, and a freezer filled with expensive groceries, defrosting, and a whole bunch of other things that have been taking up a lot of time and energy today, and will continue to present its own challenges. So I just came across this thumbnail and thought I would share it with you, and just in reading through it gave me the little boost to just pop on here face forward, which I will do in a moment, and still pull our cards and just talk about them a little bit, just off the cuff. I've been observing that there's been a really big theme this year. We say it every year, and when I say this year, I mean these first 4 days. And on the other side of a super moon in Cancer, which brought up so much emotion and brought us into home and identity and belonging and family and all of those types of things, which of course hit us right directly in the heart. That is Cancer. That is the Cancer energy. And of course, whether you were experiencing the intensity of the full moon leading up to it, during yesterday, and now post, we're all stepping into this year with our own unique stuff that we're carrying, all the things. And just because the calendar page turns doesn't mean that we're instantly ready to hit the ground running, right? And I think that's, what the theme is here, and what I have been seeing very much highlighted this year. I mean, I always say it about, it's not a true new year. It's just January 1st, a man-made Gregorian calendar that we all collectively agreed to follow. And yet when we are in the flow with nature, with all that is in the universe, this is not the time for starting new things and hitting the ground running and feeling like we should be at our most productive and ready to, take on all of our resolutions with gusto. For most of us that are in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the dead of winter. It's dark, it's cold, it's slow, and really counterintuitive to the notion that we should all be ready to get her done. And hey, if you are chipping away, if you are in the Southern Hemisphere and the sun is shining, that is so needed to balance out, but really wanting to hold space for everyone wherever they are, myself included. So that was kind of my intro in here with these different points of reflection on how you may arrive into a new year, and how important it is first and foremost for us to be attending our mental, emotional, spiritual health, which of course then in turn impacts our physical, right? So anything else about more movement, exercise, and diet, new year, new me, all the things comes secondary to that. This is about the sacred foundation that we've been creating and working toward, and that work doesn't end just because the calendar turned, So one of the things I've been finding here is seeing a lot of references and reminders about that the true new year is in March with Aries season, with the spring arriving in the Northern Hemisphere. And, that's really where we're in this in between. And then one thing I've been noticing is all of the things that keep the machine running over here, not just my refrigerator, but grow in the flow, are all delayed, not available. You know, all of the astrology guidance, all of the different resources that I like to bring together, you know, to uniquely present to you, you know, what I bring forward, are all delayed and unavailable and slowing me down in a way that's bringing me back to the drawing board to find new pathways forward, to really take a look at what's working, what's not, you know, and all of it. So just not lost on me, noting it, trying to be gentle with myself, and, you know, suggesting that we all, you know, afford ourselves a little bit of that grace as we're stepping into this new calendar year. So let's go ahead and pull up our deck, and I'll just see some cards coming forward for us to hold us over as we go. Okay, so let's check out our featured deck that we're going to start with for the month of January and the beginning of 2026. This is the spectacular Winter Season Tarot by Dani'el Norman, one of my absolute favorites, and I'm very excited to kick off the new year with this deck that is inspired by the nature around her in Canada, actual photographs that she has taken that are enhanced with her amazing talent to create a beautiful, intuitive deck that has a very gorgeous take on the tarot through nature, and specifically in the season of winter. So I'm going to actually spray for us my old, you can see my uniform unintentionally, but yes, protecting and bringing in the green, emerald green ray here for renewal, recovery, that balm to meet us where we are. And again, I don't like to come in like Debbie Downer, but I will be real Rita over here. I don't know about the fact that, hey, sometimes it's hard, you know, and sometimes when it rains, it pours. So as for us right now, it's happening with the house and things that, you know, are needing time, attention, and money. So with green on the mind, let's tune in here and just kind of clear, cancel, delete, release all of that to come into our center. And breathing into that, really just taking a moment to connect in with our highest self, that part of us, who knows, that sees the big picture, that is able to zoom out and understand how it is all coming together perfectly imperfect. Not always the way that we think we drew it up or would choose to draw it up here in our conscious self, but our higher self knows exactly how it all fits together. And so we tune into this beautiful tool that is the tarot, along with our intuition, to empower ourselves with some insight, some guidance, some awareness around the energies that are flowing in the collective and what we might expect this first full week of January and 2026, right? So important. So that's why I really did want to knock it out again, have an opportunity to pull from it tonight, and then, you know, I'll expand on it as I feel is needed. I have a very full schedule with all of the new year readings and sessions kicking off, so I'm also needing to be realistic in terms of what I can do. So we're pulling our 5 cards now. We'll see where that takes us and just allow that to unfold. So we'll pull our first card for Monday, kicking things off, and that's going to be the 5th. I'm recording this on the 4th on Sunday evening, and I just want to take a look at one of the notes that I put together here of just some really high level overview of some of the astrological aspects this month. Because like I said, my go-to resource, Forever Conscious, has not yet put out the January guidance. And while I'm working on the year ahead readings and an overview forecast for the whole year with some of the major aspects to talk about in the energetic weather, that has been put out, but not just the day by day. So I'm taking a look at another little resource that I came across. It's just giving us a couple of hits for the week. So I'll just mention them as we get to the day. So on the 5th, I don't have anything noted here. That does not, there is always stuff going on in the sky, you know. So these are just aspects that are noted here that I'm going to pass on and share as we pull the cards. So Monday, kicking off the week, what's coming forward from the tarot for us collectively? 7 of Wands. So yeah, goalie in place, putting up a little defense, offense, you know, guarding the goal, if we will. The 7 of Wands does call for us to put up some boundaries, some borders, some perimeters, some framework of sometimes having to protect ourselves too, protect those, you know, vulnerable parts as we see with the padding and everything there. So, you know, this is definitely setting a tone that is stepping in, maybe cautiously optimistic. It's funny, I was listening to, you know, all my favorite content creators out there, and they so generously do these readings for the different astrological signs and such. And one that I was listening to for Leo, my sun sign for this week, and one of the cards that came up was the 7 of Wands, and he was saying, you know, this is you, this is Leo. The 7 of Wands is a Leo card. So, you know, just happened to hear that today in my multitasking while I was listening to that. And then sure enough, the first card I pull is 7 of Wands. So self-protective, you know, kind of putting up, using our tools too. Like we have the net, we have the stick, but my ability to make ice hockey references are running out. Puck, shot, goal, I don't know. So yeah, we got that 7 of Wands coming in to set up some of that framework. And then Tuesday presents our potential blocker challenge this week. And I have something here for Tuesday the 6th, the Sun conjunct Venus, where your light attracts divine favor. So inner light acts as a magnet to draw love and favor directly to your chosen path without delay. The universe highlights natural charms, so opportunities arrive naturally through simple and honest authenticity. Shining brightly attracts exactly what is observed from the benevolent world all around today, Tuesday. So a potential blocker challenge from the tarot guidance comes through the 9 of Wands. Interesting that this fire, okay, so that wands are fire. Now we have the 7 of Wands and the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands is that one that's like, do you really have to do all that shoveling by yourself? And doing so with just that one manual shovel that might not even be the right, you know, type for the snow that's falling, you know, it's a heavy snow, and this shovel isn't going to cut it. Or is it a broom? I'm not looking in the book right now, but she does a wonderful job, Dani'el, of, you know, kind of cluing us into what's happening in these cards and all of that. But, oh, look at the cardinal. So right there, I spy a little guy coming in there with some spiritual wisdom. Oftentimes the cardinals are signs from spirit, our loved ones in spirit, but certainly that we're not alone, and that the answer to that rhetorical question of, do you really need to carry all those wands all at the same time, all by yourself, is no. No, you do not. You are not alone, and you can ask for help, and that might be the challenge. The challenge might be reaching out and asking for help. Lean on me energy coming in here. And it's a potential block, you know, when we might feel that our options are few, or that we do have a lot to do, and legitimately so. Yeah, I do have a lot of wands, and they're all vying for my attention, right? Where do I prioritize? How do I start things off? Where do I put my energy? That is something that I know I can struggle with when it comes to executive function, you know, and understanding, unless it's like a real crisis and then I can shine. Sometimes the most simple and mundane of tasks can be a challenge to really, really prioritize. Okay, we're going to shovel the walkway first, right? So that we can safely get to the car. Then we're going to clean off the car, that, you know, like the steps. And so that's kind of what we see beautifully depicted here. But I love that cardinal right there to let us know that, yes, this is a challenge. We might feel blocked, but we're not alone. We don't have to go at it in this back-breaking way. We can take a breath, take a beat, and look for the helpers, right? Look for the opportunities to maximize and utilize resources that we may not even realize we have. Okay, so Wednesday, a midweek blessing, and we have Venus conjunct Mars, where destiny aligns heart and action. So sparks fly between deepest desires and physical actions to ignite a strong and undeniable sense of passion. So chemistry accelerates to push attraction into motion and turn feelings into real and tangible experiences instantly. This is where romantic visions can take physical form directly and manifest clearly and undeniably in daily life. So that Venus conjunct Mars is bringing together, you know, what is it? Women are from Venus, men are from Mars, vice versa. Yes, conjunct. So, you know, highlighting those connections, relationships, and also balance and duality of masculine and feminine, which doesn't just have to be male, female, right? But it's a yin yang kind of opportunity there coming up and in our face with real tangible evidence, you know, is what that's saying. So Wednesday, oh, I see one. Wednesday's midweek blessing. 7 of Swords. Wow. Okay. So we got 7, 9, 7. 2 wands and some swords. So 7 of Swords is that card of a bit of deception. And I see that the calendar page is on April. And it's circling the 25th of April, reminding me of April Fools. But I did just notice a blue jay. And what's really cool is the cardinal and the blue jay are my sign for loved ones in spirit, specifically my grandparents. And so I definitely do feel a nod from our loved ones, from the ancestors, very present right now and very much accessible to us as they always are. But particularly, again, when we're in this state of really coming into our intuition inside and connecting in with our wise self and spirit, we can really sense. And what the 7 of Swords is saying is about deception, things not being how they seem, you know, having to maybe ask critical thinking and asking of questions and, you know, looking into things beyond the surface. But there could be a blessing in something being exposed. There is a lot of disclosure energy throughout this whole year. That's a buzzword that's going around right now to really to talk about a lot of the collective energy in terms of figuring, you know, things not being what they seem, things coming to light, things being exposed, and all of that type of stuff. So I do feel some world stage energy with this. And, you know, again, if I do decide to take a look here and expand on any of the days this week, we'll take a look at more about the card. I think it's cool that it's highlighting April and perhaps specifically that date. But, you know, just overall, we are being sort of cautioned, encouraged to tread lightly as we're stepping into this year, this month, this week, right? Stepping into it with our gear on, right? Our defenses. Also, you know, managing and balancing all of those things that we're carrying. And then, of course, critical thinking, questioning everything, right? Wednesday's energy. And then Thursday, the 8th, we do not have a specific aspect highlighted here, but we're going to pull our card for how we are growing and how we may expect to grow this month, this year, this week, and all the things in between. So let's get our Thursday card. Card for Thursday. The Emperor. He has been coming up a lot in a lot of the different readings I've done in the full moon reading that I just did last week too. Again, there's structure, there's strategy, long game. Okay, so it's like chess, you know, playing chess, not checkers kind of a thing, like really being methodical and thinking through, but also this is really highlighting, this is Mars, Aries energy, fire, masculine, father energy. So, you know, all those different areas could be pinging for different people in different ways. But this is one that is not impulsive and not just doing for the sake of doing, but rather having a long game plan, and bringing in some strategy around how we, and he's chopping wood here. So he's got his axe and he appears to be taking a break. So I do think too that we have to be discerning with how we are giving of our energy, again, keeping that goal tended to and not wide open and vulnerable, but also taking those breaks and stepping away when we need to, because sometimes it is all just too much. And the long game, the strategy is, again, not to try to lift it all by yourself. You know, community and connection and communication are more important than ever, especially in these days where there's a lot of heavy lifting going on for so many of us, and it's hard and it's not always easy to, you know, even have it in the tank when we're talking about things for ourselves, let alone holding space for other people. And maybe we can't always tend to all the things all the time the way we would like to. But again, by extending some grace to each other and compassion, and kind of doing that lean on me energy, that we are able to navigate with greater ease, and ultimately we're growing in that process. So then Friday, the 9th, we wrap up the week, and we've got two aspects coming in. The 9th, we have Sun conjunct Mars, where Spirit clears the path ahead. So here is where courage surges to generate rapid forward movement and breakthroughs exactly where needed most right now. Action feels natural as obstacles lose influence, and cosmic energy rewards bold initiative with success immediately. The universe clears the way forward to claim an ultimate and destined victory. Immediately, it's saying it again. So definitely some bold energy coming in there that is serving and clearing. I look at that and I think, how does it do that? How does the universe clear the way forward in order to claim ultimate destined victory? But in the by and by, what does that look like? And how might that path be cleared? And that's where we can get into things that may or may not be preferred, but ultimately are serving, right? Then we have also the 9th, Venus opposite Jupiter. So this is about blessings expanding beyond expectations. Well, yes, please. Blessings grow beyond expectations to bring opportunities for pleasure and significant abundance into the personal world. Awareness keeps this expansion aligned with the path rather than allowing energy to scatter aimlessly. Receiving more than asked for happens. In this, the universe delivers surplus joy and wealth to the doorstep. Okay, yes, we'll take that. So let's just see what's coming in as our final tarot card for the week. Friday. Last card. Okay. Ace of Swords. So interesting collection this week, because we had 7 of Wands, 9 of Wands, fire. Then we had the 7 of Swords, air. Then we had the Emperor coming in here as a major arcana card with that Mars, Aries energy. And then Ace of Swords. When the path is cleared, this is the new beginning. This is the reset. This is the offering coming in with that sword, that wand, that magical icicle, however we interpret it there. as an offering of a new thought, an aha moment, an idea, clarity, you know. Yeah, you know, having appliance trouble here, and my husband and I trying to stay positive about it and be grateful for, you know, a smaller refrigerator in our garage that we can try to use, or a cooler, or, you know, different resources and things we have available to us, all while feeling, of course, disappointed, frustrated, it's stressful. Also, though, you know, bringing home to roost when there were little signs along the way that attention was needed or maintenance was needed, and if we didn't heed that call, or we didn't, you know, act on that, that ultimately this unpreferred clearing the way that's taking place for us, bringing us back to the need for more, perhaps, structure and follow through and all those things in order to now start clear and fresh in a new beginning that now sets us forward with perhaps a renewed appreciation or understanding for some of those things. You know, that's the kind of way that when I'm, you know, just intuitively reading these cards, and whether it's through my own personal lens or the collective lens, or for you individually, or just for a small group, that I can, you know, then apply the story that came out here to what's coming up for me, and it's helping me. It's like using those resources of the storylines, the symbols, the things coming up in the cards, how they work together to help me have an inner dialogue about understanding more about a current situation that I'm facing, or a frustration, or a question I have, or something, you know. So that's kind of, you know, the way of reading the tarot through this empowering lens that's about using these beautiful cards to initiate dialogue, you know. And so there's a lot of that mental, the thinking, the ideas, the clarity that's being highlighted here with our spread this week. So that's really beautiful. This spread that we have is a little bit of, you know, 7s and 9s are prevalent here. The Emperor is number 4, which is that number of structure, like the 4 legs of a table, of a chair, creating that stability again. So there's this need to take a look at these sacred foundations that we're building, not trying to rush things and slip on the ice or in the snow, spinning our wheels. Let's bring out our tools. Let's lean on each other, utilizing those tools, and also questioning and expanding beyond just what presents itself as ultimate truth, or, you know, whatever is coming up that can be self-sabotage as well. That's another way that I like to look at our Wednesday energy, the 7 of Swords, that this can be your inner saboteur, an aspect of your own self that is causing some of your, you know, angst and delays. So again, there's some real talk going on, starting with ourselves, is kind of how I'm looking at that. Let me pull us a final card. I have, I'm going to do the Shaman's Dream, because I happen to have that deck out because I used it for our full moon reading. So I'm going to pull from the Shaman's Dream for our closing card for the week. So this is going to be a punctuation mark on the messages that have come forward. And I'm backwards, so I don't know if my cards are going the right way, but this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as I've placed them. And now our final card coming from Shaman's Dream. Final card, please. The Watchers. That's interesting. Transpersonal, the Watchers, card 60. Interesting, because I kind of got that vibe with our very first, well, with the second card, but the first of the 2 birds. Both the cardinal and the blue jay are watching. The cardinal is observing from up high here, and the blue jay is through the window looking in. So that's interesting, because this card is called Watchers and says transpersonal. So let me take a look in the book to see what's coming in for that. And we'll see what we get. Card 60, bringing in the 6th frequency of balance, healing, harmony, highlighting relationships. Serendipity, the observer witness, transpersonal. When watchers appear, it is an invitation to stop doing. Pause, get off the treadmill, and take a deep breath. Find the witness within, the one who can observe the fire and fury happening around you, but is not caught up in any of the drama. Yes, this is what I was saying about our higher self, the wise one who knows, who understands more than the fray. The fray is real, and rightfully so. We can be freaking out when it's fast and furious and unfair and all the things, and we're tired, and a whole host of very valid perspective from this vantage point. What we're talking about is opening up and ascending to that expansive place where the watchers, right? That aspect of you who is observing. So perfect and very confirming there. So not caught up in any of the drama. The time is right to step back. If you have a thought or opinion, keep it to yourself. If you have a feeling that needs to be expressed, do it in the shower. Do not engage with the action happening around you. Simply observe. Yeah, that's what I was saying about the emperor taking a break and stepping back from the chopping of wood, right? Taking a breather and not putting a lot of your personal energy and resources into the fray. Don't engage, simply observe. Watchers show up to direct your attention to the horizon and away from the anthill in front of you. Others might think you are simply doing nothing, but let them know that you are helping the sun to set in the evening sky. There are bigger things to attend to. You have spent such a long time trying to correct the course of events and the actions of others. Let it be for a short while as you become the observer rather than the doer. The Watchers invites you to break free from the linear, casual pace of the petty day to day. Rise to divine coincidence, to serendipity, and notice how the act of seeing the heart of the matter produces results. Things happen without you doing anything. Creation unfolds in its own mysterious way, requiring only a sacred witness. Wow, I love that, to go with our sacred return and our sacred foundation and the sacredness of it all, because this truly is the work. It's happening in real time. It's the stuff that we look back on and think, how the hell did I do that? How did we do that? One might look back going on 6 years ago now to that 2020 year and think, wow, we did that. And it isn't always in awe that we look back, right? Sometimes we're like, I did that? So it's sacred work, and bearing sacred witness is where we're being asked to put our energy right now. So wherever you are and how you've experienced these first 4-ish days, I'm sending you love and light and strength and hugs and gratitude for all of it, because it's all the stuff, the sacred stuff that we are, called at this time to watch, to observe. But I love, and I have goosebumps about that cardinal and that blue jay. We are not alone. Not only are we have a cheering section, right? We have the peanut gallery coming around through spirit, but they are willing us on and celebrating us with love and adoration and gratitude for knowing that this is not easy, knowing that we're tired and all the things, and yet, right? And yet. And so that's what I'm feeling with the resilience and the perseverance that the 9-year of 2025 has called for. And again, we don't just turn the page and turn it off as quickly as my refrigerator stopped cooling this afternoon. Not like that. It's more of a gradual defrost, if we will. No, I'm just being punchy, but you know, the sense of the resilience and the perseverance being called for in this moment, meeting with the magic wand of the magician in this 1 year. And, you know, I will talk as we get, you know, I mentioned the 111 portal for January 1st. And on the other end of that is going to be Sunday of next week, a week from today, is the 111 portal. So it's a 4 ones. There we go. Emperor style. It'll be 111 in that 1 year. So, you know, again, there's a lot of magic that can be really brought forward through this portal that we are in right now. And some of it might be the magic of releasing, shedding, transmuting, alchemizing some stuff, some sacred ass stuff. You know, like, we have had it, and good riddance. No. So anyway, we'll put some love on it. I'm going to spray the pink lotus with the heart chakra just to kind of seal all that in with love and compassion, with some softness. Look how beautiful. It's like a cotton candy pink kind of shade, and really soothing. So we've got the heart energy for sure. Yes. Tell me it's the day after a full moon in Cancer without telling me that. Emerald green and pink. So both ended up being, of course, for the heart, a soft balm, bringing in some love, some light, and some just grace to you. So thank you all so much for being here. I'll keep you updated as I move through. Like I said, I'm going to be head down, doing the things. All of those month ahead readings are coming to the Empowerment Pack crew, and of course the year ahead readings. I'm going to be recording January, the part 1 of that video that's this first week of January. So stay tuned for sure if you're waiting for that. And thank you all for being here, and we will talk soon. So wishing you a gentle week, and talk to you soon.